And Chucky's just standing there going, "How you doing?" And he vomits all of the whiskey all over Jake's dad's feet. And then when he goes, "Ooh," when he freaks out, he actually hits the switch and he electrocutes himself. And Chucky's just laughing. Hello, I just wanted to thank you for clicking on my video, and I wanted to let you know not only do I create content on my YouTube channel here, Class in a Glass, but I'm also on Twitch where I play single-player games, multiplayer games. I do movie reviews, cartoon reviews, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Also, it would be a big help if you can check out my Patreon, where you can gain access to audio commentaries, reactions, and the ability to submit questions for my podcasts and videocasts. And all that content can be found in the links below. In the meantime, enjoy the video. But chat, speaking of Chucky, cheers and salute to Chucky. Amazing, chat. This character has been around for almost 40 years, chat. Let's say like about 35 years. It came out, what, 1988? So, yeah, about 35 years. Here's to Chucky, chat. Very long-lasting slasher horror franchise. You know, to him and his many victims throughout the, God, how many movies at this point? Dozen movies at this point? And along with the series, about a dozen? Incredible, chat. And it's crazy to think that this particular series, at least, I mean, again, I've only seen one episode, but I will say, what a great fucking start for it, chat. When they first announced this, I was like, I mean, okay, sure, we'll see what happens. I mean, it's not like notable slasher icons haven't gotten series before, although I think we can all agree that maybe they weren't the best. Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, which barely had anything to do with either character, respectively, chat. But I will say, Scream got one too. Though probably the less said about that, the better. I've heard that's not very good. But like for this particular one, at least starting off with this first episode, chat, pretty impressed. Pretty surprised by how much I'm enjoying it and the characters and the premise and how it connects to the original film series as well. I'm like, wow, you're balancing all this to great effect. And I can't wait to just kind of get nitty-gritty details of you about this chat and kind of go into more how I feel about it. But thank you, Serious Lost Woods. Thank you again for the follow. Appreciate that. The first episode was pretty cool, but the dialogue wasn't. The dialogue was. I wouldn't think it was bad. Listen, I've seen a lot of horror films. I've seen a lot of slasher horror films, and yes, they do have bad dialogue. I wouldn't say it was really. It didn't bother me. I don't know. I was drinking while I was watching, so maybe it was washing over me. I had no idea what they were saying, but I liked it. I didn't mind it. I didn't think it was too bad at all. I like a number of the characters too, and some characters I'm like, I can't wait for them to fucking die. But yeah, I dug it, chat. But first and foremost, let me go ahead and ask you the question, chat, before I do my scene by scene breakdown of Chucky, chat, the television series based on the Child's Play franchise. But how many of you have seen the Chucky series, chat, or at least the first episode of the show? Because that's all I've watched. I know the first 3 episodes are out right now, but I've only seen the first episode, chat. Makes me sound very. I like it. Tom, I mean toast. Damn, I can't even type 2 hammered and baked here. Happy Friday night. Thank you, Tom. Thank you so much. Over here, Exploder. Thank you, Outer Base. Can you do the Babadook voice? You know what? It's been a hot minute since I've seen the movie. Babadook. Is that close? I feel like maybe that's what he sounded like, but again, it's been a while. I've been like 5+ years since I've seen the movie. Axel says, I haven't seen any. T-Bone, I haven't seen it. Gentleman, I have not, but I'm definitely curious. It's like a due to Don Mancini being in control of pretty much the whole Chucky franchise since the first film. The remake's the only thing made with that. That's true, and I actually like the remake that they did. I thought it was interesting. I didn't think they were as experimental as they possibly could have been. They didn't go as far as I wish they did with that particular movie, but I still liked it. This is like a matinee movie. It's like, oh, wow. Than I thought. Yeah. Pretty close. Thank you, Ovarian. Okay, all 3 episodes are so great. Full price from that Chicano kid. Gave his earn. Well, I had the same rating, shall let you know. It's interesting, though. So, majority of you have not seen this yet. I have a couple people who have seen it. That you kind of could have seen it. Yeah, Chad, I've only watched one episode. I'm going to tell you right at the top, really liked it. Really like the premise so far. I mean, I don't know how many episodes are going to be in this series at this point. I guess, as far as I see right here on Wikipedia, they say 5. But I imagine they'll have more. So we'll find out. But hey, so far I'm liking what I'm watching, Chad. And overall, like I've always been a fan of the Child's Play series. Like I like the first one, the second one, the third one. I like Bride of Chucky. The only I haven't seen the more recent movies, the one that went straight to VOD, which everyone has said they're actually really good. I mean, some of the best ones in the franchise. I know they did Cult of Chucky, and I think there was one beforehand where they brought back a lot of and I know in the most recent Child's Play films, not counting the remake that they just did with Mark Hamill, but the VOD ones, they brought back a lot of the original actors. I know they brought back Jennifer Tilly and the actor who plays Andy, of course, the original Andy in the first 2 films, and I think his stepsister or his foster sister. I think they brought her back in one of the other ones. Curse of Chucky and Cult of Chucky. Right. I haven't seen those ones, but I know of them. I know some of the details of them, chat. But yeah, other than Seed of Chucky, I've enjoyed all the Child's Play films. Now, Seed of Chucky, I just thought, I don't know, it really leaned into the humor, and I thought a lot of it just wasn't that funny, and I just didn't care for it. But the ones I have seen, I have enjoyed, and I am very much a supporter of the most recent remake, which I know some Child's Play fans weren't a fan of that because they did not involve Don Mancini, didn't get paid his money, which, hey, I fully respect that. But I dug that movie. But when they announced this series, I was like I guess I was kind of skeptical. I was like, really? A Chucky TV series, especially based on like all the other TV series that we got from various other slasher franchises. And again, those are bad. Most of the time, they didn't even have the original icon. Like Friday the 13th series had nothing to do with Jason. Freddy occasionally popped in for the Nightmare on Elm Street series. For the most part, he was absent. It was more like a Twilight Zone kind of thing, much like Friday the 13th was. And so when they announced this, I was like, okay, we'll see. But after watching the trailer, after watching this first episode, I'm like, I'm digging it. It has me interested. It makes me want to watch the rest of this series, chat. And so I'm excited for it. I hope it's a success. Hope it continues on. Again, maybe the second episode and third episode, they kind of fall off. But based on what you guys are saying, you're digging it. So that's cool. Maybe I'll do this. Maybe this will be like a weekly thing, Chad. I'll just review the Chucky series for the next couple of weeks and either on Friday or Saturday and give you my thoughts, chat. But chat, let's go ahead and start at the top. We have a very old lady brushing her hair, chat. She's not old, she's like in her 50s or something, or late 40s, but she's brushing her hair, chat. And this something is Chucky. Is someone looking at her? Someone's looking at her, chat. Is approaching her from behind, and she turns around and goes, but then we cut. And now we're in modern day America, chat. We're in Hackensack, I think Illinois, I want to say. Hackensack, Illinois, the birthplace of Charles Lee Ray, the notable 1980 serial killer, chat. But as most people do not know, but we know, he is also Chucky. He used voodoo magic, chat, to place his soul in the body of a doll, and he went on a murder spree throughout the late 80s and 90s and into the 2000s, chat. Man, he's been fucking busy. But lo and behold, chat, we're in Hackensack, Illinois, and Chucky's just sitting there in a yard sale. Now, I like how this goes back and forth. When I was growing up, chat, we called it a garage sale. See, in the Great Lakes area, chat, particularly in Western New York, we called it the garage sale, but here, they're calling it a yard sale. So when you were growing up, what did you always call it, chat? A garage sale, a yard sale? I went with garage, but I respect the yard sale. Whatever you want to call it, chat. But we see this one kid named Jake, who they say is a middle schooler, and I'm like, bull fucking shit, he's a middle schooler, but he's 14 years old. That's a 25-year-old man, chat, but I'll let it go. I call it a garage sale. I'm with you, Guru, but John Oman calls it a yard sale, so again, I'm not saying either one is wrong, but I like to know, like, what do people usually call in what area? I always call it the garage, but a lot of people call it yard sale. To be fair, the sale is in this lady's yard. Like, she has nothing in the garage. You can't go in the garage. Garage door's closed. I took note of that while watching the episode. And she has all these big fucking tables with shit just out there. So I was like, okay, fair enough. I will allow it to be called a yard sale, chat. But we're introduced to the character of Jake, who is perusing his neighbor's wares, chat, and he comes upon Chucky the doll. It's a good guy doll, chat. He comes up to it, he's holding shit, and the neighbor comes over, and she's like, you interested in the good guy doll? And you're like, are you into vintage? And he goes, I'm not into vintage. Okay. I'm into retro. Now I know that retro is anything that's 20 years or older. What is vintage? Is that anything like 40 years or older, I want to say? Because I know retro is at the very least 20. And they have a back and forth, and she's like, well, what's the difference? What's the difference between retro and vintage? And he says, $10 instead of 20. And she's like, fuck, vintage is 20 plus? Okay, so there you go. Vintage is 20 plus, so retro is at least 20? All right, fair enough. I'm not going to debate this. I'm not going to debate Jake. I feel like I'd be exhausted after that conversation. But he says the difference is 10 instead of 20. And she agrees. Although he asks her a question, it's like, how did you have this thing? He's like, I don't know. My daughter had it or something and had it for this entire time, but I want to get rid of it. And she's like, cool. So gives her the $10, and he leaves. But she notices Chucky was sitting next to this, knife. This knife set, and someone took the butcher knife. Who would take the butcher knife? Oh, you know, chat. I know and you know. But he's fucking walking, chat. He's walking back home, chat, enjoying the nice crisp fall afternoon, and he gets his phone out, chat, and he listens to his favorite podcast, chat, which is called Hack and Slash. Hack and Slash, chat, hosted by the boy that he wishes could be his boyfriend, chat. I think his name is Devin. I want to say his name is Devin. And Devin hosts a podcast, chat, kind of like a true crime podcast where he examines all these cold cases and murders and serial killers and shit. And Jake fucking loves it, chat. And Devin's going on about Hackensack, how it's like, yes, our mayor would like you to think that this is just an ordinary middle American town where everyone's fucking nice of each other, but he's fucking wrong. This place's murder rate has skyrocketed. There was all those murders last year. Like 11 people fucking died, and that one unexplained. Okay, and of course, this is the birthplace of the infamous serial killer Charles Lee Ray, who is, in fact, Chucky, the human version of Chucky. And so it gets you thinking, like, why is Charles Lee Ray, why is he back home in Hackensack, Illinois, chat? That's very interesting. I was like, I want to know more about why is he returned home after all these years? What's his fucking plan, chat? What's his end game? I don't know. But Jake, he finishes the listening the episode with his Devin, chat, who he has the affections for, and he returns home and he goes upstairs, and you can tell it's like, if you didn't know this kid was into the boys, chat, and you know now, he has an instant, not even, the thing that tipped me off, chat, wasn't the pride flag in his bedroom. That's not it at all. No, it was an Outsiders poster. The 1980s Outsiders with Tom Cruise and Patrick Swayze, chat. I'm like, oh yeah, there you go. I knew it. I knew. You can obviously tell. But Jake, he's not just defined, chat, by his sexuality. He is an artist. All right, and he is making a statue made out of doll parts. Little fucking weird. I will say it's like, I mean, I know art is in the eye of the beholder, that kind of thing. Art is very subjective, but I'm like, this is kind of fucking serial killery. I'd be like, I would like to talk, like, I would sit down with Jake and like, hey, are you okay? Like, everything going all right? You're making a fucking weird abomination statue out of baby doll parts. Just want to make sure everything's going good. But he puts Chucky down on the table, chat, and we admire his latest sculpture, which is completely made out of baby doll parts. And I guess it's supposed to represent him. I get the sense that, you find out later on that he is not very well loved by his father because of the fact that he is coming out as gay. He's discovering that he's gay, and he's being mocked at his school. It's just like, Jesus Christ, these fucking kids show. Like, there's been a while since I'm like, I want these middle school kids to die because they're all mocking him because of the fact that he's gay. He's gay and he's poor, which I'm like, Jesus Christ, leave him alone. But he's got his statue. He's working on that, but he wants to add Chucky to the statue chain. He's trying to like rip Chucky's head off and everything. He's going at it and stuff, but Chucky's head won't come off, and Chucky's like, and his eyes are going back and forth. You notice subtle things in the beginning of this episode, but He goes over to gets this knife check. He's gonna just cut off the head, and he has like a cat, I think named Boingo or something, and Boingo's just like hissing at Chucky. Like clearly Boingo's not. I'm not big on this. I'm a little disturbed by this doll that you have here, Jake. I like you. Don't like this doll. And Chucky's eyes are like going towards the doll like this the whole time. Like, where the fuck's this cat going? Eventually, though, before Jake can cut Chucky's head off, his dad enters, Chad. His dad, I think, works or is like the owner of a garage, Chad, fixes cars and stuff like that. And you can already tell that dad is not into Jake's art project or Jake's homosexuality. Like, he's not outright saying that I resent you because you've come out as gay, but you can just tell by the body language, Chad. Dad, played by Devon Sawa, Chad, who you've most recently seen in, what was The Fanatic with John Travolta, Chad, which I'm like, in hindsight, he did a pretty goddamn good job in that movie. Also is going to be in that new Bruce Campbell horror comedy, Black Friday, Chad, which looks excellent. But Luke's dad comes in, and he's like, still working on your doll project, huh? And he goes, yeah, it's kind of my thing. He's like, yeah, listen, your uncle and your aunt and your cousin are coming over, all right? Did you take your pill? So we find out that Jake is on some kind of medication, Chad. We don't know. We just know it as the pill. We don't know what it is. But, you know, Jake's like, yeah. He's like, take your pill. The dad knows he hasn't taken the pill, and Jake takes the pill. And the dad also says, hey, listen, you know, this whole art thing, look, you know how difficult it is to, like, maintain a living as a working artist? Like, it's very, very hard, all right? He's like, Dad, this is what I'm really into. He's like, I get that, I understand. But you gotta move on from this, all right? All right, and that whole art club, or that art camp, that's not going to work out, Jake. He's like, why not? Because it's $1,000, all right? And you know that we're struggling right now at the garage, and I can't afford that, okay, Jake? So why don't you just move on? How about you get into sports? How about you play some sports, Jake? And he's like, but I don't like sports, Dad. I'm right there with fucking Jake. I don't like sports either. But he's all about the sports, Jake. Clad, good to see you, the Elite. Thank you so much for reaching 13 months on a 13-month streak. Thank you for that incredible support. And so Dad leaves, and you can already tell that Jake is pretty upset. Dad doesn't understand him. Dad clearly is like, he's not saying he's resentful towards the fact that his son is gay, but you can tell. You can definitely tell. And so he goes ahead and he leaves Chucky in the room, and the cat just starts, you know, rubbing up on Chucky and hissing at and fucking pawing at him. And you know Chucky's getting pissed, and you see his little fist a clenching, Chad. You know he's getting mad. But eventually we cut, because now we're at a pizza party. And Jake's uncle and aunt and his cousin Luke, they arrive, Chad, and you can already tell that Jake's uncle is far more successful, Chad. You know, he's unlike Jake's dad, who's kind of like, you know, and he's always wearing his overalls, Chat. He's got like a really scraggly beard. His brother, who is also played by Devon Sawa, Chat. He plays two characters in this. Also plays the far more handsome and successful version of Devon Sawa, Chat. He's sitting there going on about his son Lucas, how, oh, it's great. He's going to be an Eagle Scout. He's going to get, because I guess if you reach an Eagle Scout, you get in the college for free. I guess that's how it fucking works, Chat. And the aunt's there, and she's gone about her son, but she's also asking, she wants to know about, Jake's art project, because he doesn't want to be all about you. Because, it's the kind of family like, oh, we're so proud of our son, and we put, like, so much on him, like that kind of thing. And you can also tell that the son is, like, privileged, but he's also resentful towards the parents because they're putting so much on him. But they're like, oh, shit, they kind of realize that, too, at the last second. That's when they start asking about Jake, because you can tell. If you look over at Jake's dad, he is just, I have never seen a man drink as much whiskey as this guy in a scene. Jesus Christ. He has this big fucking jug, and it's not a bottle, he has a jug of whiskey, and he's pouring it, and he's just downing that shit like it's Pepsi Cola or something. It's like, take it easy, Dad. It's like, that's not a good combination. Resentful towards his son because of who he is, and also an alcoholic. Ugh, that's not good. But, he's drinking as they're talking about, their very successful son, Lucas. But then, thankfully, Thankfully, the aunt asks Jake, "How's your project going? Your sculpture?" And he's like, "Oh, well, still not finished yet." She's like, "Well, I can't wait to see it." And he's like, "Well, I'll definitely show you." And then Lucas clearly doesn't like the attention being on Jake, because then he says something like, "Oh, you know, you just want Lucas to pay for this," because he's like, "Oh, hey, Jake, you know, in the Boy Scouts, they're taking the gays now," and it's like, here we go, here we fucking go. That's like, ooh. They're taking the gays now, chat. And Jake's like, "Oh yeah, tell me more." He's like, and but then Jake's dad, he pipes in. He goes, "He doesn't know if he's gay or not. He doesn't know who he is. He's 13 years old, okay?" And he's like, "Dad, I'm 14. Whatever." And he's just like, ooh, and it's super fucking awkward. It's not great. And eventually the aunt, she gets up because she's like, "I'm sorry, where is your powder room?" I forgot what the dad's name is, but Devin. And he's like, "It's the same place where it always is." And he takes a fucking swig. Not breaking eye contact. She goes, "Okay, that's great." And so she goes upstairs, chat, and she goes into Jake's room, where she looks at the sculpture and goes, "Ugh," which anyone would, because it's fucking weird. But she sits down, and she gets on her phone, chat, and she's like, "Oh my God, I am just so horny, and I need to see you as soon as possible," chat. So is she having an affair? What's going on? But then she hears something in the closet, chat. Something's moving around. She goes over to it, and she opens it, and bah! And it's the cat. Oh, cat jump scare, chat. But what also is there, chat, is just Chucky just staring at her, and she's a little disturbed by that. But eventually she goes back downstairs, where everyone's talking. And again, Lucas keeps fucking emphasizing that Jake is gay and is mocking him because of his homosexuality. And then finally, Devin Sawa, Jake's dad, just fucking freaks out and slams his glass on the ground. He's like, "He doesn't know what he is. Okay, just fucking drop it." And it's like, oh shit. And eventually they're all like, "Hey, pizza party." They finish their pizza and they go home. And Jake waves goodbye, but then he turns into like a middle finger, like, "Fuck you guys. Fuck you, uncle and aunt," and clearly homophobic cousin, Lucas. But then Chatty hears something being destroyed upstairs, like, and he hears his dad going, and it's like, oh my God, he's like Jack Nicholson all of a sudden, chat, from The Shining. And he goes up there, chat, and he sees his dad like a fucking baseball bat destroying his creepy baby doll sculpture. And he's like, and Jake's like, "Dad, what are you doing? This is my art." And then eventually he destroys it all, and Chucky's just sitting there going, "This is kind of fucked up." I love it how the least shitty person, other than Jake, in this show is Chucky. He's probably the fucking best person in the series so far. He's like, "Listen, I know I'm a murderer, I'm a serial killer, but I'm not as bad as that dad right there, okay? He's abusive, he's an alcoholic, you know?" So I really like that. But Chucky's watching this, Jake's watching this, and the dad finishes destroying the statue. He's like, "No more art, no more being gay." And he fucking leaves, and Jake is obviously horrified by this. And he sees Chucky's under the bed, because he sees his little feet sticking out, and he pulls Chucky out. And Chucky then says, like, "We'll be friends till the end," doing the whole shit and everything. They're like, "Hi, I'm Chucky." But then he also notices near Chucky's hand, there's this big fucking chunk of fur, chat, with like a meat, like a big like glop of meat on it. And he's like, "What happened to Bingo?" Whatever the hell the cat's name is. But not great. Very, very awkward night, chat, let's just say. Eventually we cut, it's later in the morning, and Chucky's like sitting on like the table like this, just looking at Jake. But Jake is on the internet, chat. He's on the interwebs, and he's looking up these good guy dolls. And apparently, chat, good guy dolls, they start the production of them like in the early 90s, which makes sense because that's when they stopped making them in the early 90s, when the company went under because of all the murders that was connected to Chucky, of course. Killed the brand. But apparently they sell for a lot of fucking money on eBay, chat. Like, some of these dolls are going for like anything between like $850 to like $2,000. And he sees this like, "Oh, fucking shit, I'm gonna put Chucky on eBay and see if I can sell him." So he fucking makes a post on eBay and sees if he gets any bidders sometime soon. Eventually, he, for whatever reason, he's like, "I'm gonna take Chucky to school with me." And so he's at the bus stop, Chad, gets on the fucking bus of Chucky. Everyone's throwing shit at him because he has a doll, and they also mock him because he's gay. And but then it's like, hey, it's like, despite all that, he sees the person he has a lot of affection for. Chad, he's so like, he wants to talk to this person, Devin, who does that hack and slash podcast. And he's like, oh, I want to talk to him, but I feel really awkward. I don't know how to do this. I'm going through so many changes, and so he decides to sit behind him, Chad. But Devin, funny enough, is the best friend of his cousin Lucas. It's like, holy shit. And so they're talking, and so it make it even more awkward, Chad. Eventually, he gets to school. He's walking down the halls, going to his locker, and we're introduced to one of Jake's friends. And I didn't catch the name of Jake's friend, but he wants to ask Jake about his cousin Lucas, because Jake's friend, he is also gay. And he's like, hey, I really want you to know if you can talk to Lucas for me. I'm interested in him. I just feel really awkward, and you know that our school is incredibly fucking homophobic, clearly. And but little did he know, like, Jake's locker is right next to Lucas's, and Lucas is like, I know that you would probably think that I'm gay because of Jake, but I'm not. I don't swing that way, you know. And then he's like, sorry. And then we see, Chad, this lady. We see Lucas's girlfriend, Lexi, walk up, and she goes, yeah, he's straight, okay, obviously. And they fucking make out and stuff. Middle school kisses, Chad. And he goes, oh, okay. And he runs away. And Lexi sees that Jake is holding the doll, and she goes, "Oh my God, look at that! That's so vintage." And he goes, "It's retro." She goes, "Sure, let me take a picture. I'm gonna Instagram it." And she takes a picture. And it's like, oh my God, is this part of your like little art project? And he goes, actually, I'm gonna sell it. She goes, oh, you're gonna sell it? Are you like poor? And he's like, no, my dad and I are fine. She's like, oh, listen, if you want to borrow money from like my really rich parents, or like me, or I don't know, like, Jesus Christ, Lucas, why don't you just fucking pay him? He's like, I don't carry cash on me. And he's like, he's your family, all right? Jake, if you need anything, all right, you just come to me, come to your cousins. Like, there's nothing wrong of asking for help, okay? All the poors ask the wealthy for help. It's totally fine. And he's like, all right, thanks. I appreciate it, guys. And so then he walks away. And then Lexi reveals her true colors. She's like, I fucking hate those dirty, stinking pores, and I'm gonna get back at him for being such a dirty, stinky pore. And even Lucas is like, can you, like, why? let's just kind of leave him alone. Like, even at least, like, listen, I'm homophobic. Listen, I gave him a lot of shit for being gay, but still, at the end of the day, like, let's leave him alone. He's going through a lot right now. She's like, no, I'm gonna get him back. It's like, why? Again, Chucky's like the best person in the show. Eventually, we cut to science class, where they're dissecting frogs, chat. They're dissecting frogs, and we're introduced to the character. I forget her name, but I'm going to call her Mrs. F, which I think is very funny. I think Mrs. Fairfield or something, but she's like a really cool teacher, and she's going on about, all right, today, kids, we're going to be, dissecting frogs. Listen, there might, even though it's dead, and like they're freshly dead, it might have some motor functions left. You might still see the anatomy like moving around and stuff. And everyone starts, dissecting things like that. But then she notices that Jake, who has brought Chucky with him to class for some reason, goes over to him and says, is everything okay, Jake? And he goes, listen, I appreciate it, Mrs. F, but I'm a little queasy when it comes to blood. And you have one classmate in the background goes, that's because you're a fag. And she's like, and she legitimately says, shut the fuck up, Oliver. No one asked you. And I love that. She does the thing that like no teacher would do, is that she actually tells the bullies to fuck off, and I really, really like that. So Mrs. F, other than Chucky himself, chat, probably the best character so far in the series. And she's like, fuck off, no one asked you, Oliver. And she goes, listen, if you feel nervous about it, just take your time. Okay, if you like, listen, we could come up with another assignment for you if you're not able to do it. So, and she's like really understanding, which I appreciate, chat. But he goes to town, he opens the frog up, and it starts bleeding everywhere. Chat, kind of moving intestines, is like, oh, and he needs to take a moment, put the scalpel down, take a breather. Chucky sees that scalpel and is like, oh, don't mind if I do. And he takes the chat. Jake turns back around, and the entire frog has been flayed, chat, and like every like body part has been removed, and all the organs are all in like these very, it's neatly just organized into the side, and like the scalpel's like right in the middle of the frog's heart. And he's like, and then Mrs. F comes over. She's like, oh, Jake, that's not exactly what you should be doing. And eventually, everyone's like, that's because he's a fucking weirdo. And she's like, shut the fuck up. I will put you in detention. Like, really, I love that about her. Eventually, though, the bell rings at this point. Oh, and no, I'm sorry, before that. So before that, everyone starts getting these text messages. It all starts popping up on their phones. And they all start laughing. And they start laughing at Jake. And Mrs. Fairfield, she checks her phone. And apparently, Lexi had set up a GoFundMe for Jake and Chucky, like, please help Jake and Chucky, they're poor. And everyone's like, ha ha, you're poor, you're economically, lesser than us. And Mrs. Fairfield, like, loses it. Mrs. F is like, Lexi, stop being a fucking bitch. I love she calls her a fucking bitch. And she's like, stay after class. Jake, is everything okay? And he's like, I just don't feel really good right now. And he's like, Jake, it's okay, you want to talk? And he's like, I'm gonna go. And he leaves. And then Mrs. F is like, get your fucking blonde ass over here, Lexi. And she sits down and she's like, listen, I'm going to tell you straight because I know you have no fucking morality because you're in middle school. It's like you're a bunch of little savages. But let me tell you something. I was like you when I was a kid, all right? I was a piece of shit. I love that she's owning up to it, Chad. Like, I really like that. I was a piece of shit. But then I learned as I got older that, life is not going to give you everything, okay? You have to grow a conscience. You have to be understanding of individuals. You have to respect individuals. And, that's what I have to do. So you need to fucking grow up. And she's like, well, unlike you, Mrs. F, I'm not going to end up teaching middle school biology, okay? My parents are fucking rich, all right? They own this school. They pay your goddamn salary with our taxes. Okay, so my money is going to you. And she's like, oh, you want to keep threatening me that way? You're threatening me my job? He's like, that's what I'm fucking doing, bitch. She's like, how about this? And she gives her a fucking detention slip. How do we report to detention right after school today? And she's like, well, why don't I just tell my parents they gave me detention and then you get fucking fired? And she's like, well, how about I tell the fucking vice principal about you? How about you stay here this entire time and I'll speak to her? She's like, go ahead. Her and my mom do Pilates together. And she's like, oh. And so she goes. But eventually, we cut to Chucky's also still. Is Chucky still? Yes, that's right. So I forgot to mention this. So before Jake leaves, he asks Mrs. F to keep Chucky. And so people, like in the locker or something, or no, just for now in the room. So he goes to lunch because everyone keeps making fun of him because he's carrying this doll around. She's like, sure, I'll keep him here. And so Chucky's in the room with Lexi the whole entire time, just watching her. But eventually we cut to the lunchroom where Jake is having lunch by himself. And Devin, who watched the whole situation go down in biology class and like thought that was really fucked up, he decides to sit across from Jake. And Jake is listening to Devin's horror podcast, Hack and Slash. He goes, hey, man, how you doing? And he goes, I'm good. And he's like, what do you listen to? He's like, Vampire Diaries. He's like, Vampire Diaries? But what's that like? And clearly Jake's like never seen Vampire Diaries. Or maybe he has, but he's not listening to that. So he's kind of stumbling over his words and acting really awkward. And he's like, it's about relationship between two brothers and the culture of vampires and the politics. And he also happens to star like some really hot dudes as vampires. He goes, yeah, they're really hot. And they're having a back and forth. Then they have chemistry. But then Devin asks him, he's like, hey, listen, I saw what happened in biology. That was really fucked up. I do a podcast series called Hack and Slash. I don't know if you're familiar with it. But I cover a lot of true crime and horror films and things. Like, I'm really into that. But I want to do like a series on bullying, and I wanted to know if you wanted to come on and talk about your experiences. And then Jake gets kind of pissed off because he doesn't want to be seen. He doesn't want any pity from Devin because he's attracted to him, and he doesn't want to be seen as a victim. And he's like, listen, man, so you just want to use me as one of your subjects? He's like, no, that's not it. I just want you to come on. We can talk. And he gets mad, and he walks away. And Devin's like, all right, shit. And Lucas takes note of this. He's like, stop talking to my friend, Devin. He's really mad. Eventually, we cut back to the classroom with Lexi. And she's like on her phone and she's texting about the pores and about the gays. But then Chucky just fucking gets up. He just gets up and starts walking around and shit. And he goes to the door and he goes, he's like, fuck, and she freaks out, drops her phone under the it falls on the table. She doesn't know where it goes, but she sees Chucky and he's just standing there. She's just standing there looking at her, and he starts saying shit, but in his Chucky voice. And so she gets up going like, what the fuck is that doll saying? And she goes, like, she moves closer and closer and closer to it until it looks like Chucky's taking a step towards her, like, holy shit. But then the door opens and Mrs. F walks in with the vice principal. And she's like, all right, Lexi, why don't you tell the vice principal what you told me? And she's like, listen, I'll take detention, okay? I'm sorry. I just, I got to go. And I think I lost my phone in here. I think I dropped it in here. So if you see it, just let me know. Because she got really freaked out by Chucky, chat. Hi, Silver Baby. Welcome to stream. I'm reviewing Chucky Episode 1. It's pretty good. So she leaves, chat. She leaves at this point. Eventually, I think we're at a point, yes. Oh, yeah. Also, Lexi says, I just shouldn't fucking smoke so much weed before class. And the vice principal, Mrs. F, are like, wait, whoa, excuse me? But she leaves by that point. Eventually, we cut back home. Oh, that's the thing. Mrs. F, she takes Chucky, who was on the floor, and puts him in a locker, chat, and locks it. And we hear Chucky just breathing, going, that fucking bitch. But eventually we cut back home, and Jake is on eBay. He's got like a bunch of offers, but there's this one particular offer from this person who says, I'm really interested in the doll. I want to pay you this much money for it. It's like double what it's worth. And like, let me know. Let me talk to you. And and Jake's like, okay. And so he writes him back, this person, and says, here's my phone number. And then instantly he gets a phone call from this unknown number. And he picks it up and he goes, hello. And he goes, hi. This other guy on the phone's like, listen, I want to talk to you about this doll. And he goes, sure. He's like, so you said specifically it has no damage, it's in perfect condition. He goes, that's right. He goes, is its name Chucky? And he goes, yeah, how do you know? Because he didn't put that the doll was named Chucky in the thing. And he goes, has anything weird been happening around you or at your home or anywhere you've taken the doll? And he goes, I mean, I don't know, not weirder than usual. He's like, listen, whatever you do, get as far away as possible from that doll, okay? Where are you? Tell me your location. And he's like, excuse me, sir? And then all of a sudden we hear this person on the phone goes, wait, hold on. I'll call you back. There's someone else here. And he hangs up. And like, I'm led to believe this is Andy from the various movies, chat. Child's Play 1, 2, and 3, of course. This is the original actor that played Andy in 1 and 2. And I guess they brought him back for Cult of Chucky and Curse of Chucky, I want to say. So he's been brought back. So I imagine he is also in this, because it's fucking nuts that this is all connected to each other. With the exception of the new reboot movie. So they don't say it's Andy, but I'm guessing that's him because he knows all these specific details. And he's like, this is fucking weird. And so then Andy, he goes on the does he go on the computer at this point? Yes. I think he goes, yeah, he goes onto the computer because he wants to like look up details about Chucky and the good guy dolls in general. So he types in good guy dolls violence, and it comes up. The first thing that pops up is all the various murders and situations that happened in the previous films, chat. All the way from the original with Andy holding the good guy doll. 8-year-old boy or 6-year-old boy says, my good guy doll killed all these people. And he researches all the shit that's been happening. It's like, oh my God, it's fucking nuts, chat. What the hell's going on? Eventually, I think at this point, oh yes. And so I think it's like the next day. Yeah, it's the next day. And it's like this, oh, no, it's not the next day. I'm sorry. When Andy is going downstairs, it's the next morning. That's what it is. It's the next morning. He's going downstairs. Jake's dad is eating breakfast and drinking coffee and stuff. And he's like, hi, Dad. How you doing? He's like, I'm all right. Spent all night doing payroll. Won't be enough to make another payment on the house, Jake. And he goes, okay, I'm sorry, Dad. And he goes, hey, I found this. And he puts the Chucky doll right on the table. He's like, I found this right on our fucking doorstep. It's like, I told you to throw out this goddamn doll shit, okay? And he goes, okay, Dad, I'll take care of it. Oh, I forgot one thing to say, chap. Earlier, Andy tells him before he hangs up, he says, check his batteries. Check his batteries. Tell me if he has any batteries. And so Jake, he sits down and he goes to the other room and he takes Chucky and he opens Chucky up and and then there's no fucking batteries there. And it's like, holy shit. And it freaks him the fuck out. And he goes outside and he throws Chucky into the trash, chat. Eventually he goes to school and it's like a charity talent show kind of thing that Lexi is hosting. And so Devin gets up on there. I think he plays like the piano or some kind of instrument, fucking kills it, chat, knocks out of the goddamn park. And then Lexi gets up there and she's like got this whole like comedy, like stand-up comedy routine where she makes fun of Devin and she talks about how sexy her boyfriend Lucas is. And she mocks her little sister who she just despises. And little sister's just sitting there just like, fuck you, bitch. Which I thought was very funny. I'm all right. I feel better if you weren't gay. Which is pretty much what you can tell. That's what he's saying with his eyes the entire time. And then she also makes fun of Jake, who's there. And like she does this whole thing about how you're poor and you're a loser. But then all of a sudden we hear this voice in the background. He's like, well, I think I'm better than you, you fucking bitch. And she's like, excuse me? And then he's like, I'm behind Jake, you dumb broad. And we cut and Chucky, like, did he just fucking sneak in the auditorium? And he's sitting right behind Jake because Jake, for whatever reason, has put himself into the talent show, chat, but he didn't. It was Chucky. And then Jake's like, what the hell? And he's like, come here, kid, pick me up. Let's entertain these people. And he picks Chucky up, and then we cut, and then Chucky's clearly whispering something into his ear, like, and he goes, okay. And he goes up on stage. Or Lexi's like, okay, well, here's the goddamn mic. And Chucky just roasts everyone for 5 fucking minutes, chat. He talks shit about Lucas, talks shit about Lucas's mom, Jake's aunt. And he's like, oh, yeah, this broad. Ooh, you got secrets. Who you been calling, sneaking away from the kid and husband every day? I wonder what's tickling underneath her. And doing all that shit. Also, then he's like, oh, and Lexi, the most popular girl in school. What have you been doing? Let's go ahead and find out. And he has her phone. He kept her phone, chat. I've been checking your message. He's like, that's my fucking phone. Give it back. He's like, hold on. There's some interesting things on here. It's like, oh, got a lot of pictures of Lucas, I see. Good looking kid. Lucas is like, yeah, oh yeah. And he's like, a lot of interesting pictures of Oliver, too. And everyone's like, hey, wait a minute. And Oliver's like, oh, yeah. Lucas like, what? And he's like, let's check your internet search history. Well, this is weird. A lot of Pokemon porn. It's like, whoa. He's like Rule 34 Pokemon porn. Rule 34 Pokemon porn. And this is an interesting entry. Why do my farts smell so good? She's got a fart fetish. Yeah, she's like, oh my fucking God, I can't help it that my fart smells so good. And she runs up, grabs the phone, she heads out, and then eventually, the vice principal and the Mrs. Fairfield or whatever, Mrs. F, they're watching. It's like, okay, we gotta end this. And Chucky's like, ha, you like that, didn't you? Yeah, oh, you fucking phonies hiding behind your goddamn nice houses, your perfect families. Oh, you guys are so good. You care so much. But eventually they take him off stage, Shaq, because they won't have it. That was random, but it was funny. I loved it. I loved it. He's just talking shit to him. At this point, some of these people are just shitty that you're on Chucky's side. But then he goes home after he's punished by the vice principal, and we walk in, and Jake's dad is just sitting in the living room in his chair, just fucking drinking whiskey, chat, just down. Like, I'm like, dude, take it easy. And he's like, your school called. And he's like, oh. And he's like, yeah, you're suspended. They told me what you were doing, Jake. He's like, it wasn't my fault. He's like, don't fucking tell me it wasn't your fault. All this fucking shit. this doll shit, this gay shit you're into. It's like, Dad, I can't help this. Like, you just gotta stop doing that. Just stop doing it. It's like, don't tell me what to do. And he fucking hits him. He fucking slaps him, chat. Right across the face, backhands him, and he slams him against the door. So you're gonna fucking stop all this shit. You're just like, you fucking should have died instead of Mom. You should have been. That's the thing, his mom died. His mom died like a year ago. That's when Jake was going, discovering that he was gay, and his dad just couldn't handle the death of his mom and his son being gay. And the dad just suddenly drops him. He's like, go to your room. Go to your fucking room. And eventually, he's like, give me that fucking doll. He takes the doll. He's like, none more of this fucking shit. And he puts it down. And, Jake's like, I don't know if you should do that, dude. He's like, don't tell me what to fucking do. Go upstairs. And so Jake goes upstairs. His whole world's crashing on it. Like, he hates his dad. The school resents him over so many things. But he knows something's up. And he locks his fucking door. As dad. He goes back to his chair, sits down, and we see Chucky's not there anymore. And he looks, he picks up his bottle, and all the whiskey's gone. He's like, the fuck happened to my whiskey? What the fuck? And then, boom, all the lights go out in the house. And he goes over, he's like, checking like the switch. He's like, fuck. And he goes back downstairs in the basement. He goes down in the basement, chat. Well, Jake is also checking the lights, which he goes, oh no. But, fucking his dad, he hobbles down in the basement, chat. Checks the fuse box and it fucking sparks. He's like, Jesus fucking Christ. He's like trying to work and everything. And all of a sudden, here's this little pitter patter. And he looks down and Chucky's just standing there going, how you doing? And he vomits all of the whiskey all over Jake's dad's feet. And then when he goes, ooh, when he freaks out, he actually hits the switch and he electrocutes himself. And Chucky's just laughing. And Jake comes downstairs. He's like, Dad. And he sees his father just like exploding, chat. Because of the sheer amount of electricity that's coursing through his, alcohol-infused body. And Chucky just kind of waddles up to him and goes, ha. Couldn't believe it. And then we immediately cut. Purple Canary good to see him. We immediately cut. So Jake's dad, dead. He's dead, chat. This Devin Sawa's dead. And then these detectives arrive at the house, and they're like, it's a bad situation. Dad's just fucking fried to a crisp. But they go upstairs where Jake is just sitting at the dinner table staring at Chucky. Detective comes in. I think that the main detective is the mother of Devin, I want to say. And he goes, hey, Jake, I think I saw you today at the talent show. I think you know my son. Listen, I just wanted to say I'm terribly sorry for your loss. I know this is hard for you right now. But my partner and I, we need to ask you some questions. If you don't want to answer them now, it's totally fine. We can come to you at another time. But if we can just speak with you, that'd be great. He's like, sure, of course. And the one detective puts out a tape recorder, and he looks at it. He's like, oh, what's this about? She goes, listen, there was a reported break-in of the school tonight. And he goes, oh? And he goes, yes. I don't know if you're aware of it. But one of the things that was stolen, nothing major was stolen. I've done worse when I was a kid, when I was going to that school. But the only thing that was stolen was your doll, and it's Chucky. And he's like, do you know anything about that? And he goes, it was me. I broke in because I wanted to practice with him. That's what it was. That's why you did it? And he goes, yeah. And at that point, he's like, well, you broke into him. I think the detectives kind of give him like a pass because, well, your dad just died. So, like, listen, sweep down the rug. I know that your uncle is coming over to pick you up right now. I believe you're going to be staying with them. We might have more questions for you. We're going to obviously come by, but just let us know if you want to talk about anything. He goes, of course. And she notices his fucking nose is bleeding. So when dad fucking smacked him. And she goes, what happened to you? Why are you bleeding out of your nose there? He goes, oh, I fell. I fell. She goes, okay. Eventually, his uncle comes over, and good guy uncle, I will say. Like, so far, the uncle's not really shitty, like his wife or his son. And the wife's not bad, but she's clearly having an affair. But he comes over, and Jake hugs him, and he returns the hug and stuff. And they wheel out Jake's dad's dead body. He's like, he's all fucked up and dead. And the uncle's asking, it's like, so what happened? Was he drinking? Was he drinking? And he's like, looks like it was an accident. Looks like there was he electrocuted himself and he had liquor on him, and it poured over an exposed wire, and sadly he passed away. Seemingly that's the case. And he goes, ugh, should have known. This would have happened one day. Sorry, Jake, but my brother was a total asshole. He doesn't respect you, doesn't love you like I do, like your uncle. I'm gonna take him to stay with this. Of course. And so he leaves. Detectives are like, there's more to this, though. This is just weird. And so we go to Jake's uncle's house, which is a fucking mansion, beautiful mansion. They roll up there, Chad. They end, and the aunt's there. She's like, hi, Jake. Hi. I know this must be really weird for you, but if you need anything from us, you're your family. We're your family now, okay? And he goes, okay. And he's like, you want to talk? You want to eat dinner? You want me to make you something? He goes, I just want to go to my room if you have a room. He's like, we have a room for you. We absolutely. And then we see Lucas at the top of the stairs going, God, this fucking gay is gonna stay with us. Like, God damn it, Lucas, his dad just died. Can you not be a fucking asshole? Just for once, his dad is dead. He's going through traumatic. He's like, oh, God. I'm telling you, champ, these fucking kids, they have no morality. No morality. And so the mom takes Jake up to his room. Very nice room. They go in there. It's just like, if you need anything, bathroom's down the hall. Got your toothbrush, toothpaste, all that. I'll do your lunch in the mornings. Least I can do. But she goes, hey, there's one thing. That talent show today, it was really funny. It was really great. A little, you know, a little raunchy. But I want to say, you mentioned me and about a secret that I have. And he goes, oh, I was just saying anything. I was just making things up. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you mad. And she's like, no, it's fine. No, it's totally fine. It's not like I'm having an affair with anyone, right? And she goes, yeah. He goes, great. I'll see you in the morning. And so she leaves. And then Jake immediately goes over to Chucky and he picks him up and he goes, talk to me. I know you were talking to me earlier. You were talking to me. And Chucky goes, bah! Chucky just fucking winds back and slaps him. He goes, oh! And Chucky falls to the ground. And he's like, kid, can you just not shake me so hard? Jesus, come on. After everything I've done for you, he goes, oh my God, it's true. You are Chucky. You are the killer doll. You are Charles Lee Ray in the flesh. Listen, kid, listen. I know you might be mad at me for what I did, but the bitch deserved it. What can I say? I just didn't like what they were doing. And he goes, you did kill my dad. He goes, oh, your dad? Oh, yeah, no, I killed him, but I was talking about the cat. And he goes, bingo! And whatever the fuck the cat's name, Binks or Bingo. And then we cut to the credits, chat, and that, my friends, is my scene by scene breakdown, chat, of Chucky, Episode 1. What shenanigans, chat, are Chucky and Jake gonna get up to next time? Actually, I forget. No, what we actually do hear a hint. He goes, oh, I thought you were talking about the cat. Listen, what are we gonna do about that fucking bitch, Lexi? It's like, wow. Oh, Brad's voice. This is Brad Doerr voicing the character, chat. Still fucking nails it, chat. But yeah, I loved it. I was really impressed by this episode. I like the premise. I like the characters. I like Jake. I like what he's going through. He has a, hey, we're friends till the end, Jake. And you buy that because so many people in Jake's life are just shitty to him. You could totally see where Chucky's going to be manipulating him the entire time. I don't know what Chucky's motivations are. I don't know why he's back here, why he's doing these things, but it does make me interested, chap. But yeah, it's a really good first episode. I really dug it. I like the premise so far. I would give this a full price, chat. It makes me interested in seeing episode 2 and 3 are already out. I don't know if it's a limited season so far. I think they've confirmed 5 episodes, chat. So we shall see. But I'm loving it. Jack, show you'll love the next episode. Nice. I might watch them tonight. Just wait until you see episode 2 and 3. Ooh, very excited. This really is a good show for people who like the old films. Yeah, no, totally. I mean, they reference the old films constantly. I mean, clearly they're going to bring in a lot of the original actors, chat. I mean, Andy, that was obviously Andy on the phone. So, yeah, it's 8 episodes total, though? Nice. I was just going through Wikipedia. They only posted 5 so far, so. But that's good, 8 episodes. That's a good amount, too, for a season. So far, it's a solid show. Enjoy the ending of the latest episode. Cool. Chucky liked the lost and misunderstood kids. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. My mistake. It's not the ending, chat. Sorry. But we cut. We then have, what we can do about that bitch Lexi. And then we cut, chat, and we're back at that beginning where we're seeing that lady brush her hair in the mirror. And that person coming up to her, and she turns around and goes, "Oh, Charles, you shouldn't scare me like that. Come here, you." And we see, chat, this little kid who is a little Chucky, chat, little Charles Lee Ray, probably in the 1960s or something, late 1960s, and just sitting on her lap, looking at the mirror, chat. It's like, so clearly we're going to be learning about, Chucky's origins, like Charles Lee Ray's origins when he was a kid. So I think that's cool, but that's how it ends. And so yeah, I'm interested. I'm very excited. Don't check. I'm IMDb major spoilers. Okay, I'll be sure not to check. So I wonder if this had anything to do with Bride. I think that they're all connected. I'm pretty sure they're all connected. Child's Play 1, 2, and 3, Bride of Chucky, because Jennifer Tilly's in the new movies. She shows up. So yeah, it definitely happens. So we'll see. King Kodak, I just finished my breakdown, my friend, but it was fun. Please do check out the video. Thank you, Hamilton Burger. I'm glad you liked it. I don't know, Jay. Maybe I'll keep doing spoiler reviews for this series. If you like this one, I'll keep doing them. I'm digging this show. It's really fun. I know that you can watch a lot of these episodes via the USA Network website, which is how I did this one. And I think the other two, episode 2 and 3, are free on YouTube right now. So you want to check them out that way, Chad, then please do. So Thunder Lee, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. I don't think Chucky is trying to be returned to a human body anymore, though. Yeah, I don't know what his motivations are. It's weird. We'll see. Mr. Yasman, good to see you. Working on Marvel, Amy Hennig, nice. Talented. Hour-long episodes. This was about 45+ minutes, I want to say. I imagine they're between 45 and 50. I mean, with commercials, they're an hour. If you watch it on TV. But, it was about, 45 to 50 minutes, I want to say. Oh, 3 episodes now on YouTube? Oh, okay. Thank you for confirming. But yeah, there's options you can watch them, Chad, either on Sci-Fi or USA Network, or probably their websites, and you just got to watch a lot of ads. That's how I watched this first episode. I watched it with about 2.5-minute ad blocks. Yeah, that happened maybe 4 times, but it was good. I dug it. The end is the actress from Jason X. Oh shit, no, really? Well, look at her going back into the slasher genre. Very nice, Chad. But I hope you enjoyed the review. We are now going to be moving on, chat, to Resident Evil Village, my super duper hard run playthrough, Village of Shadows, which I've been really enjoying. Going to be fighting Lady D, her other daughter, chat. Eventually getting to the doll girl. Beneviento, I want to say her name is Beneviento. So yeah, I've seen all the Child's Play films. I have not seen the 2 VOD ones. I haven't seen Curse of Chucky or Cult of Chucky, but a lot of people swear by them and say they're pretty good. So it makes me want to check them out now. Chances all of these are connected, with the exception of, I guess, the latest theatrical release one with Mark Hamill. But I like that one. Really, the only one I have not liked has been the Seed of Chucky. I didn't care for that one at all. But now, chat, we're gonna go and move on to the video games. So please give me a moment as I switch over a couple words. In the meantime, why don't you look at the smiling face of Charles Lee Ray, Chucky. Friends till the end.